I hope this point is so obvious that it doesn't even need to be said to anybody within the Oregon athletic department. It should be plainly obvious after what we just watched, but Melyssa Lombardi needs an extension. Her contract runs through next year, and that's it. Just put together her first trip to the Women's College World Series, was one of the final 5 teams in the entire sport. Yeah, I have faith that there's going to be news on that front. There hasn't been yet. I was frankly surprised, maybe not shocked, but I was a little surprised that the contract was set or is set to expire next year. But when you go out and have your best season to date in version 7, you're gonna make a commitment there. So I don't know if any of you saw, but Patty Gasso, who is the not going to be a 5-time champion, Oregon has somehow gotten out of the habit of losing to the eventual national champion in the postseason environments. Well, they lost to Ohio State, so I guess not entirely. Like I said, not entirely, but somewhat gotten out of that habit. They've done it a lot, and I mean a lot over the years in a variety of sports. Northwestern for women's golf. Kiara Romero, by the way, played awesome at the U.S. Women's Open. Shout out. Oregon basketball's done it a couple times. They lost to Virginia when they won it all. Lost to Louisville when they won it all. So anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Back on point. Melyssa Lombardi the broadcaster was referring to a lot as Missy Lombardi. She's an awesome coach. But Oklahoma's head coach, Patty Gasso, had Coach Lombardi on as an assistant for like 2 decades or something, for a very long time. And so she likes and respects her. But I think she got asked, Patty Gasso did, about the lack of contract extension there for Missy Lombardi. And I mean, she wasn't ripping into the Oregon athletic department, but she was kind of making this point and had this, I think, correct tone of like, if you don't invest in Coach Lombardi, you're doing it wrong. This is someone you want. This is someone who's doing it the right way and doing all sorts of good things. Of course, she's a little bit biased, but it's also hard to pretty argue with the words she was saying when you watch what has happened to the program since Coach Lombardi took it over. And for all the postseason shortcomings, it's felt like Oregon has had in calendar year 2025. Women's golf getting to the Final Four, coming up just a little bit short. Football losing to Ohio State. Men's basketball had a big lead, couldn't hold against Arizona. Women's basketball almost beat Duke. Like, this was the most successful postseason run that any Oregon sports team has had this year. Women's golf, you can put up there too. They've been there before. That doesn't mean it wasn't wildly successful, of course. They'd been there before. This program had not. And they're losing a healthy amount of seniors, and I'm sure the roster will look plenty different. There are a lot of young, exciting players on the roster. And what I hope, and one of the reasons I'm talking about it today is because Coach Lombardi deserves the recognition for the job she's done, and people should know, like, yeah, she should be extended and given a raise as well from whatever the contract was before. But I think what she accomplished this year more than anything, with Oregon hosting a regional and a super regional. Shout out to Liberty for beating Texas A&M. Let's play Liberty in every postseason, by the way. That always goes really, really well. I think she brought a lot of Oregon fans into the sport. I call softball for Southern Utah. It's a great sport. SU doesn't have baseball, so I kind of get that fixed from a broadcasting standpoint with softball. And before I graduated college, and when I graduated college, I'd actually never called the sport before, but I've been around it for my 5 years as a play-by-play announcer. It's fantastic. It's really, really fantastic. If you're a baseball fan, I promise you can get into softball, because there are, of course, a lot of similarities, but the strategy is very different. It's really exciting, and this was a really, really exciting Oregon team. Not just because they had back-to-back walk-offs in the regional and super regional, both by Des Patman, who's an absolute stud. I don't know why she bunts so much, but I never want to see her bunt. I want to see her swing the bat because she's got plenty of pop. But I think that there were plenty of people, and I saw them on TV or talked to them. Some of you are the listener watch out there have said, yeah, man, I was following the run. It was great. It was awesome, man. It was a really fun season. And I've seen people online saying that sort of thing. But I also watched Jane Sanders Stadium in the postseason structure or in this postseason setting rather, and it's packed. And that's awesome. I think that is phenomenally awesome because you start to miss Oregon sports, right? That's why many of you tune into this show. I feel, not that I don't enjoy covering recruiting. I do. Because Oregon is the shark in the water right now. They're just getting ready. I don't think that dorsal fin is quite over the water, but it's getting ready to surface like a submarine scope. And then once it does, Oregon's gonna be up. They're gonna be out there hunting for chow. But fundamentally, like, it's just fun. It's just fun. It was really, really fun to watch this team, to see that stadium be so exciting, to see, you know, the athletes getting the credit and attention and love from the fans that they deserve. It's awesome. I think it's awesome. And certainly, you know, with success comes expectations, because many years ago, think about it for Coach Lombardi's counterpart, Mark Wazakowski, many years ago, it would have been disappointing, but not a flop, as I described it accurately on yesterday's show, to host a regional and go 0-2. It would have been, hey, it was so cool to host a regional. But eventually you want to see that step. You want to see that progression, right? Now Coach Lombardi and her staff have got to sink their teeth into recruiting, hit the transfer portal, and figure out how they can put together a roster that can get back to the Women's College World Series. It's not an easy thing to do. And next year, the path is probably going to be more difficult because you're going to have a younger team. We'll see who they bring in via the portal. Lindsey Grine was a transfer this year. That worked out incredibly well. But you'll have whatever regional situation you wind up with. The odds that you aren't playing a nationally ranked team again in the super regionals, probably pretty low. They caught a break this year. They took advantage of it, as they should have. That's what great teams do. And they trounced Liberty in the second game after beating them in the first game. So I'm not trying to take away from that, but it never just, you know, automatically sustains itself. You see this with Oregon football, right? Dan Lanning goes out and wins 10 games and wins 12 games, and how does he come back with a roster that can go out and win 13 games in Big Ten championship? You get to work. So Rob Mullins and the rest of the athletic department got to get together and get Coach Lombardi an extension. Then they got to get to work. But awesome season, super fun to watch. Love talking about it here on the show. And I like spring sports. I really, really do. I hope many of you do as well. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.